Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 122 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. My name's Geige, and I'm here with Dan, of course. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day. Thanks for tuning in tonight on Mother's Day. One thing that's kind of cool that I don't know that we've actually mentioned on this town hall before, but our first employee was actually my mom, which is kind of cool. So happy Mother's Day, Mom. And Dan's mom was actually our bookkeeper right from the very beginning. So kind of a cool fact.
Family
Before
business.
yeah. Before I forget, should mention our shows. So we've got lots of awesome shows. There's the StreamYard Spotlight Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, which is a show where Dana and Kelsey feature people from the StreamYard community and how they're having success with live streaming. So be sure to check that out and reach out to them if you'd like to be featured on it. We've got live stream reviews on Saturdays at noon Eastern. The first of every month is with Daniel and Dee doing the channel reviews, and then we have Christian and Letitia doing them. So be sure to check that out. We got Coffee with the Ducks Fridays at 11:30 a.m. Eastern every other week with Dana and Jorge, and then recently live stream Impact with Julie's Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern. So be sure to check all of those out. Oh yeah, I got distracted by Mother's Day. Forgot to say forgot the intro. So Dan and I are the founders of StreamYard. We do these town halls every single week. We do them for a few reasons. One is to stay in tune with you guys, go through the same flow you guys do every single week. Two is to answer your questions. So if there's anything you'd like to touch on, do let us know. And then I always make sure to mention our three pillars, which are ease of use, stability, and professional streams. So if you've got those three things, StreamYard is the tool for you. I can't believe I forgot the intro. I'm losing it.
Don't worry, I wouldn't have let you get any farther. No.
Let's see who we all have here. Someone's tuning in from the Dominican Republic. Very cool. We do actually have a relatively, it's an announcement. It's a relatively small announcement, but it's something people have been asking for a while, which is Twitch categories. So I don't know how many of you are streaming to Twitch. If you do stream to Twitch, let us know. I'd be curious what category you use and how you're using Twitch and how it's going for you. But for a long time, we didn't actually support the categories functionality of Twitch. It just automatically defaulted to talk shows and podcasts. So we recently updated that. So now on Twitch, you can choose from a few different categories. And then we also have the option to just use your existing categories. So I know it was a bit of a frustration for some folks that just wanted it to keep using their category. So that's now fixed. We actually have a picture for it. Let me just pull that up. So yeah, you can see here. So when you schedule to Twitch now, there'll be a category section, and you'll have all those different options, or the option to just go ahead and use your current Twitch category. So hopefully that's a welcome change.
We'll be releasing that probably tomorrow. So it's not up right now, but it'll be up very soon.
My mistake. Selena's saying aloha from Texas.
Aloha.
Thanks for tuning in. Eric's saying you guys still haven't bought Dan furniture. Yes. Hopefully something's in the mail.
I'm a minimalist, aren't I? Yeah. The chat enjoys talking about my lack of furniture. It's all good.
Dan says, request make guest audio controls persistent, or at least move them out of the way of the guest so we can see what's happening while monitoring erratic audio.
Interesting. Make guest audio controls persistent, or at least move them out of the way.
Maybe if you could give a bit more detail, Dan. I'm not sure fully understanding that one.
Yeah.
Bargain says, hey, Geige and Dan, thank you for starting StreamYard. Of course, Bargain, thanks so much for using it. Michael says, love being on the Spotlight show this past week. Thanks, Dana Bentz. Yes, awesome.
Sweet.
Let's see here. Carly says, hello, hugs, everyone, blessings, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Wondering what the differences are between the two upgrade plans. So they're pretty similar, Carly. So the main difference would be 1080p. So with professional, you get 1080p and more multi-streaming destinations as well as longer recordings. But best place is if you go to StreamYard.com/pricing, it'll give you the full breakdown of what's on all the different plans.
Yep. And if you have any follow-up questions, just in the bottom of the pricing page, there's a button you can chat with support, and we have 24/7 live support. So if you have any specific questions, they'll help you out.
Absolutely. All right, we did have some questions tonight, so I think we've asked it for a couple weeks now, but it's still relatively new. So curious what you guys think of the giveaway tool and if it's working well for you. If there's anything you'd like us to change, do let us know. We're curious.
And if you have no idea what we're talking about, stay tuned for later in the show.
Yes, we'll run a giveaway at the end. Ariel says, question, are you going to implement the giveaway for comments? So maybe...
Release the giveaway tool?
Yeah, maybe you missed the announcement a couple weeks ago, Ariel, but you can actually access the giveaway tool now. So if you just go to StreamYard.com/giveaway, that giveaway Dan and I do every week, you actually have access to it now. JS Square says, if somebody's using multiple devices at the same location for multiple cams, how can you ensure that there's no audio, echo, feedback, etc.? Yeah, that's a good question, JS. So you'll want to make sure that they either are far enough apart so they're not picking up each other's audio, or at the very least that the mic is it depends on whether or not you need audio for those devices. But I mean, the simplest thing would just be to mute the device for the angles that you don't actually need an audio source for.
Yep. Yeah, the other one people will do too is and it depends like what your setup is. In this case, maybe you need to use a phone separately for some reason, like maybe that's part of your setup. But another one that people have done is, say you have two cameras, you could just have two StreamYard tabs open and one of them's incognito, and you can actually mute the mic on that tab and physically mute the tab so no sound comes out of it either. And then you can just use a different camera in that tab. It's just another fancy way basically of having two separate cameras without needing to have a separate device and hook that up. And it also works because you can mute your mic on the tab and you can mute the actual tab itself so no sound comes out. It also solves that problem for you without having to have two devices. But it might not work for you if you need the camera on the phone or something.
Jordan says, hard to get a hold of the winner. Yes, that is true, Jordan, and that's useful feedback. I'll have to put more thought into the best way to deal with that. It's not the easiest one to solve so far. It's definitely pretty manual as far as trying to get a hold of them.
Yep. I would be curious if anyone in the chat that's used the giveaway tool has come up with clever ways of getting a hold of the winner.
Yeah, we could use some help with that ourselves. So yeah, that'd be a good one. Conwell says, can we share audio files like we share video files? So you can't share audio files the same way you share video files, Conwell, but you can. The thing we generally recommend if you're trying to do sound effects and things like that is to use an audio mixer like a Rodecaster, or if you don't want a hardware device, to use something like Loopback or Voicemeeter to do that. One question I wanted to ask you guys, because it was interesting. I think a few weeks ago, someone asked in the chat for advice when they were just starting out. So I was curious. Many of you have been broadcasting for a long time. So I was curious what tip you'd give yourself if you could talk to yourself from when you were first starting out. What would be your advice for yourself as a new streamer? I was curious about that. Let's see here. Michael says, we have an after party after our game shows, and that's when I ask them to give me the information personally in the chat. So yeah, somewhat similar to what we do.
Cool.
Carly says, one more question. I want to use share button and my laptop's not letting me find the button. How to make the share window smaller. So you can't change the size of the screen share on StreamYard other than there are a couple different layouts. So you could there is a layout where the screen is sort of next to you and smaller. So that would be one option. If you just mean the window you're sharing itself, making that smaller, you could, of course, just like drag the window itself and make it a bit smaller. But I might be misunderstanding the question. So if I am, let me know.
Yeah, so for example, and again, this might not be the question, but when you screen share a tab or when you screen share an application, you can just resize that application and it'll just kind of zoom in on the screen share. Maybe that helps.
Gianni says, how to cross-post Facebook Live? Yeah, that's a good question, and it doesn't come up too much. For anyone that doesn't know what cross-posting is, Facebook has a feature where instead of essentially multi-streaming from StreamYard, you can set it where certain pages that you have control over automatically essentially repost the same content. It has changed a bit over time as far as how you actually do it. I think we actually have a doc that goes over it in detail. I honestly am not, off the top of my head, not super familiar with the whole process. So if you just go to StreamYard.com/contact and type in cross-posting in that chat there. It should bring up a doc. And if it doesn't, our live chat support can help you out. Larry says, giveaway tool is great. Are multiple drawings during the same broadcast possible? Yeah, absolutely, Larry. You can use it as many times as you want. You just keep hitting draw, and it will keep running.
Yeah, in the top right corner, there's like a draw again button.
Joe Dog says, did a demo of the giveaway tool Thursday night. Everyone loved it. Maybe a Plinko sound during the spin and a winner sound would be nice. Awesome, cool. Joe Dog. Glad they enjoyed it.
I think some applause sound effects when somebody actually wins would be cool. It can be a little tricky, though, because you have to remember to screen share sound, or else you'll hear it and other people won't, and that might be a little awkward.
Shabaka says, question, is the giveaway tool active now? It is active, Shabaka. You can use it at any time if you just go to StreamYard.com/giveaway.
Do we have a banner for the link?
Yes. NLTMW says, is there any way to get a list of the entrants to the giveaway tool? I don't think there actually is, right, Dan? That's what the link looks like.
No.
I'd be curious, NLTMW. I mean, obviously, it just pulls from the chat. So in the chat itself, you kind of have a list there, but curious how you'd be using that. But yeah, right now, no.
Yeah, very interested what the use case is. And is it just something you'd want to see in real time so you know who's actually entered? Or is it more like after the fact you'd like to know who is in it?
Charlie says, can we have a warning come up if you want to go live, but you still have the setting on private?
Interesting. Would this be like the YouTube setting on private?
I guess, or maybe the Facebook privacy settings. It's a good suggestion. I think I don't know if we can actually detect the privacy settings on.
Not the Facebook one, yeah.
But it's a good point. We can think.
I wish we could. Something we're actually talking to Facebook about is, can we get a way for us to detect if it's private so we can warn you? But yeah, I'm curious if you're talking about, is it YouTube, Facebook, maybe something else? If it's Facebook, we'd love to have that. If it's YouTube, I'd be curious why it's private in the first place. Like, are you making it private and then going unlisted or public right before you turn it on? Just very curious.
Shannon has some advice for old self, which is just show up and be you. Always awesome advice. Thanks, Shannon.
Cool. If you're the type of person that has no furniture background, just embrace it. Cool.
Jamie says, my advice to old self, pay for Canva and use it. Pull people off when technology doesn't work. It's a good point if someone's having issues, for sure. Curious, the free version of Canva is also pretty good, but yeah, it is maybe worthwhile to pay for it. Let's see here. Dan says, follow up to earlier question. Have to open a window to control guest audio volume. Can't do anything else while it's open. So I see you want to essentially control their audio on the fly, like have a slider on the tile itself. Is that your take on it, Dan?
Yeah, like you have to open a modal. Got it.
Thanks, Dan. The Charles Matthews Show says, answer for new streamers, just start. You get better every time you do it. Over 500 streams and growing. Congrats on 500 streams. That's awesome.
Cool. You're beating us. What are we, 122?
Yeah, 122.
500. Impressive.
It's a lot of shows. Cool. Lots of advice here. Thank you guys for the tips. My advice, do it often. The more you do it, the easier it gets. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like public speaking in that sense, right?
Ariel says, question, if the host disconnects due to internet problems, until when does the transmission to LinkedIn remain? I mean, with guests into the studio. So yeah, if the host has a guest and disconnects during the stream won't actually end if a guest is in the studio. So if you have a guest in the studio, it won't end and you'll be able to reconnect and rejoin. If everyone leaves, if the guest also leaves the studio and there's no host in the studio, I think it ends after 5 minutes. Is that right, Dan?
Roughly 5 minutes, yeah. It'd be about somewhere in like the range of 5 to 10 minutes.
Paul says, pick a niche. I heard it, just not from the future me. That is good advice. Steve says, using an iPad for StreamYard, but would like to share a large video file. Suggestions? So one thing you could do, Steve, is if you have time to prepare it and you're not actually having to like share your screen on the iPad, is on your computer, you could just upload those files beforehand, and then during the stream, you could just click to play them. That's assuming you did say large, but that's assuming they would fit in the video clip section. That would be the only option, right, Dan?
Right now, yeah.
JS says, advice, watch as many tutorials as possible and practice, practice, practice. Awesome.
Cool.
All right, before I forget, I had a couple other questions I wanted to get to with you guys. One was, so we always talk about making the tool easier for broadcasters, but I was curious, since so many of you have guests, was first of all, how many guests do you normally have? And then what would actually make things easier for them? What are the things that you bump up against when trying to bring guests into the broadcast? I'd be curious what we can do to sort of, streamline that experience. If anything, do let us know. There's also one that we asked at the end of last stream, but we didn't have too much time to read off all of the answers. So I'd be curious to ask it again, which was things you'd like to see different from the host platform. So things like, we work pretty closely with like LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube. So curious if there's anything you'd like to see differently on those particular platforms, because we might actually have to have an impact on that. So it'd be good to know how you guys see that.
Thought you were going to open up a third question. Like, okay, slow down.
Yeah, I guess I should take them one at a time. Conwell says 8 to 10 guests generally. Wow, that is a lot of guests. And
are there any pain points for you?
Yeah, as far as what would make it easier for them to join. Robinder says normally 4 guests. What is the max? I think my paid plan gives me a total of 6 participants. So if you're on, I should remember on
free
basic
plan 6. So if
free
you're
plan 6, yeah.
Plan, you have 6 on screen, but you can have 10 backstage. You can have 10 people if you want to swap people in and out. But the basic and pro plans both have 10 on screen. So if you're on a paid plan, you'll have 10 on screen. And then actually the professional plan has up to 12 in the studio. So you can have even more than 10 in the studio.
Cool. And I asked way too many questions at once. So I was also curious, maybe more importantly, is for those guests that you guys do have, how could we make their experience easier? What are the sort of, any confusion points for them as they're joining the stream, as far as like, maybe it would be nicer if they could, have a calendar invite or something like that. Curious what we could do to make the guest experience better.
Yeah, more instructions for them, less instructions for them. Like, what is the hardest part for you as a host when you bring on a guest?
Michael says a guest needs to see the film strip. If you single the guest has no idea if anyone else is there.
Fair enough.
I guess by film strip, I guess the backstage essentially. I'm guessing that's what you mean, Michael. That's useful. Thanks. Luke also has the same feedback, guests to be able to see the other guests backstage. Good to know.
Interesting.
The only concern, or maybe not the only concern, but one of the concerns with that is when you're backstage, maybe you don't know if you want to make sure if you do that it's clear that the other guests can see you in case, maybe you're scratching your head or something and don't want other people to see it.
Yeah.
Marion says, I have an issue coordinating the banners and tickers after the overlay. I guess maybe, Marion, because you're having to switch different tabs, essentially. Let me know if that's what you mean. Because, yeah, we have thought about how we can streamline that. Sorry, go ahead, Dan.
And also curious, by the overlay, are you talking, is it an overlay image, overlay video? Curious which one it is. Like, are you playing an intro video and then you're trying to coordinate stuff after that, or is it something else?
NLTMW says, feature request, let guests chat in green room and communicate with the producer. Yes, that's definitely something we've thought about NLTMW, especially now with more people doing events. When you don't have very many people participating in the show, it's pretty simple to just sort of have everyone in the tiles backstage. But if you're doing like a 4-hour event with, 30, 40 different speakers, definitely makes a lot of sense to have something to facilitate that.
Yep.
Let's see here. Luke says that's easy. Add that as a warning when they join. Yes, that would be one solution to letting them know that people can see them. You'd be surprised, though. People don't like reading. You have to definitely be careful with stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Carlos says, we usually have 4 guests on screen, but a lot backstage, like director, writer, sponsor, that have to be on time. Cool. Kirk says, all my suggestions are not technical or StreamYard related. Guests need to be prepared for what to expect. So it sounds like maybe we could give them more instructions. Silver Fox says screen share for guests. So Silver Fox, guests can actually screen share, assuming that's your question there. The host has to add it to the stream, but if the guests can essentially request to share a screen. Charles Matthews Show says a calendar invite would be great. Wow, awesome. Steven says, I have a show where we usually have 4 to 6 guests. Having a larger area to select the guests would be great to make solo, etc.
Okay, like a larger button? So you think that means, Geige?
That's my guess. Or maybe just like the tiles area in general. Oh, yeah, maybe the solo button. Yeah, maybe the solo button itself on the tiles. That would make sense.
Steven, maybe let us know. Do you just mean like on the individuals at the bottom, the button that solves them, like making that bigger? It is pretty small.
Brian says, suggestion, since I can only see 5 windows in my queue, perhaps there could be a way for guest number 6 to get the host's attention to come on.
Yeah, we're working on trying to make it better when you have that many people.
Good suggestion.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Should we go ahead and do the giveaway, Dan? We don't have too much time left. Want to make sure we have enough time.
Let's do it. So this is the giveaway tool Geige was talking about that is officially released.
So yeah, if you guys are curious, like what it actually looks like in the output when we run this, you'll get an idea of what it would look like if you decide to run it for your own streams. It looks like, based on the entries, that most of you are already aware of the instructions, but in case you haven't been to one of these, I'll let you know. So if you just type in #theyard in the chat, you'll be eligible to win. And tonight we'll be giving away let me see if I've got a picture here. We'll give away a StreamYard duck plush toy. StreamYard the Puddles the duck. Hopefully you guys are a fan of that. And then also a mug. So that will be the giveaway tonight.
Very cool. I guarantee that duck fits in the mug too. That thing is massive.
Bobby says, I'm curious to know how many use StreamYard for worship services. StreamYard is awesome for worship service. That's awesome, Bobby. I know definitely quite a few based on just the comments we get during the town halls. Quite a few people are using it for churches and those types of things.
Yep. So we had 100 entries last week. We're at 99 right now. Oh, there we go. See if we can get okay, we beat it. Cool.
Record breaking, awesome.
Ready to go?
Yeah, I think it's pretty settled on 103. Let's go ahead and do the draw.
All right, 103 entries. Good luck, everyone.
Tony, congrats.
All right.
Tony has been the one who asked for Puddles the Duck for a very, very long time. So it's awesome that you won, Tony. You'll hopefully be the proud owner, or not hopefully, assuming you're proud, you'll be the proud owner of a Puddles the Duck and StreamYard coffee mug. So Dana will reach out to you.
Cool. I'd be curious if Tony's already bought one from our store. If so, you've got another one.
Yeah, you can have an extra duck. That's actually really funny that he that he won. All right, I think we had a couple other questions tonight, so let's see what they were. I didn't see too many feedback on the platform, so if anything does come to mind, do let us know. Would be super curious, and it's useful for them too. So let us know if you have any feedback there.
Yeah, anything you'd love to see Facebook Live change, YouTube Live, LinkedIn Live, Twitch, any of them. It's useful for us to know.
Other one I was curious to ask you guys about is we've chatted a bit about how many of you essentially sell courses or consulting services outside of streaming, but I'm curious how many of you actually sell products while you're live. It doesn't seem to be like we haven't seen too much of it on StreamYard. But yeah, just curious if it's something that any of you do. It seems more common that I see it more on like the Facebook native tool of people actually selling things live, but curious how many of you do it, or if it's something you're interested in doing. Do let us know.
And if so, if you're already doing it, what are you selling?
Yes. We'll be very curious about that. TV Hoven says, when will GIFs be released longer than 1 minute?
I didn't know they were capped at 1 minute.
I don't think they are capped at 1 minute.
Oh, maybe it's file size, though, right? It's just file size. I think you should be able to go longer. If that's not the case, maybe message our support team and let them know. So I think it's supposed to be capped at a file size, but not necessarily a length limit. So maybe if you can like reduce the file size a bit, it might help.
Tony says, "Thank you. I can't believe I won. I don't have any SY stuff." Well, that's awesome. Congrats,
Cool.
Tony.
Yeah, that is funny. That is Tony that is asking for the duck for so long.
Yeah, very very long time. Larry says, "When is the Teams feature being rolled out?" So it'll be early summer. I don't have a specific date, Larry, but coming in early summer is the plan. Thanks, Tristan. Tristan said, "If you haven't won today, here's a link to the merch store." Yes, you can actually buy if you're super keen and your luck is not really working out for you. You can actually access the store itself there. So thanks for that, Tristan. Let's see what else we have here. Yeah, Tony mentioned begging for over a year. Yeah, super happy that you won, Tony. Tex says, "Any plans for 4K streaming in the future?" I definitely don't have a specific date or anything for that, Tech. I can say not anytime soon. 4K is pretty intensive as far as the amount of data and data required. So, but you never know. Things are consistently improving in the tech world. So, and there was a time when people thought 1080 wasn't going to happen. So you never know, but it will take some time.
Yeah, it's mostly, I guess, to know where we're coming from, it's mostly users' machines. Like a lot of our users just simply can't handle that type of. It's very intense. It's a ton of bandwidth and it's a ton of CPU usage. So, we always want to make StreamYard as accessible as physically possible.
Yeah, the guests are also something to consider too. If your guest is having to, download a 4K stream, because not everyone has the bandwidth for that.
Yeah.
Sabra says, "Yes, I do sell my products, therapy webinars and sand tray cards." That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Cool.
Randall says, "I'm selling stuff on Amazon Live with StreamYard." I'd be curious, Randall, if you're actually going live on Amazon Live. Got it. I thought I just read the Amazon part, but yeah, fantastic.
Very cool. And that's like an invite only type program, right? Amazon Live.
Yeah, you have to be approved for access. But I think if you're an Amazon affiliate, there's like a certain. I know Amazon has different tiers of affiliates. If you're a certain tier, then I think you might automatically have access to it. Simply Talking Podcast says, "If you review a YouTube video on StreamYard, will it get taken down for copyright issues?" It depends on the video you're reviewing, and then whether or not the review you're doing would constitute fair use. So be careful. I would read carefully on YouTube's policies to make sure you're not in breach of it. But yeah, to be safe, I would probably avoid it. But yeah. Brian says, "I sell my books while on the air and do a lot of promotion for my friends, books, crowdfunding projects, and show appearances."
Cool.
That's awesome, Brian. Thanks for sharing. Looks like we're just about out of time, but let me see if we have time for one last one. Francis says, "I have clients that would like to live sell. That would be a great feature." Yeah, thanks for sharing, Francis.
Sweet. If you don't mind letting us know, what would they like to sell?
Yes, that would be super useful. All right, this was episode 122 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. Happy Mother's Day to all of you, and thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you next week at the same time.
Happy Mother's Day, everyone. See you next week.